G5 jet. I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, eSIM Studios Podcast Livestream, episode number 181. I want to welcome everybody in this Sunday evening. Hope everybody had a great weekend, safe, eventful, enjoyable weekend as it comes to a close. Been doing some research today, and I wanted to, the Pixel 9 was just announced this week, and there's a lot of talk, for better or for worse, in regards to the Pixel 9 series. Whether you think it's going to be the phone of the year, or whether you don't think it's going to be the phone of the year. There are some positives and some negatives to it. So, as we proceed to get into some more Pixel talk, and look, as every flagship device launches, right? Whether it's Samsung, which we just launched and continue to receive these devices, whether it's the Pixel launch that just launched this week, or it's the upcoming iPhone launch, we get device specific, device heavy as far as the topics in and around launch time. I'm sure this time next month will be heavy in iPhone talk, right? And then as we get a little further away time wise, we'll wind down the talk and or discussions in regards to each device that comes and goes, basically, right? So that's how it goes. We are getting a Pixel 9 Pro in this week. You know what? I don't think it's coming this week. I think the Pixel 9 Pro XL, the larger one, is available this week. I think T-Mobile says that they're going to ship all theirs out on the 20th. Consumers will get them the 22nd, which is this week. I'm not sure when we're getting our Pixel 9 Pro. Probably, I think, in a couple of weeks. The 9 Pro and the 9 Pro Fold, aka Fold 2, are delayed. Now, the 9 Pros will get to consumers a little earlier than the Fold 2. The Fold 2 looks like it's on back order until this time next month, right? It's already on back order a month, right? So the second generation of their foldable won't get to consumers until probably about a month or so, right? Let's see. Now, I wanted to discuss the CPU because there's been a lot of talk online in regards to I guess there's been a lot of talk about hashtag Team Pixel. And it's ironic, and I'll get into this real quick. But first and foremost, if you missed this episode, catch it late, catch us in the middle, and you missed a couple of stories, you can always hit the replay on YouTube simply. The replays will always be on eSIM Studios YouTube channel, so jump on YouTube, just search eSIM Studios. You can always catch the audio form, right? We're in audio format. We jumped up to number 10 on the top 60 tech podcasts in the world. It's hard to believe, but FeedSpot, who accumulates all of the RSS numbers and RSS feed statistics, have us at number 10. So we have I think majority. I don't know, I'm not going to say majority, but a large portion of our listens and downloads are people from outside the United States, actually in Southeast Asia. So I want to thank everybody that's in Southeast Asia. I do appreciate the listen. So hashtag Team Pixel, there's been a lot of talk about hashtag Team Pixel. Now, we are hashtag Team Pixel. We are members of the group Pixel Super Fans. I've had every Pixel ever made, every Nexus ever made, even the G1, the very first Pixel phone. Now, they've never sent me... There was a lot of chatter online about them saying you cannot prefer, if you're hashtag Team Pixel, you cannot, when performing and or uploading content, Pixel content, you cannot prefer another brand over a Pixel device. And if you do, they will cease all, they'll essentially cut you off, right, from Team Pixel. I've never received a ultimatum. I've never received you have to be okay with that. That was news to me. They've never sent me anything like that. Now, I've kind of not necessarily threw them under the bus, but I haven't been too wild about this launch, about this release. Now, I think it's a freaking beautiful device. I think they nailed the looks of the Pixel 9 series. I'm just not wild about the CPU. And I think Google charging flagship prices, essentially $1,000 for the Pixel 9 Pro and $1,200 for the Pixel 9 Pro XL is crazy. I just don't believe, personally, now, call me an idiot because I did buy one. So now they did not send me. I did not get one sent. I was invited to the launch, could not go because my birthday was just this past week on launch day. So I could not go. It's the second year in a row they've invited me. Second year in a row I could not go. But they've never given me an ultimatum. I don't know why some creators are getting these ultimatums and some are not. It's probably because the creators, it may be because they've kind of talked down on Pixel when they're part of Team Pixel. Now, that might include me this upcoming year. They may send me something saying, hey, you have to talk nice about Pixel. But if that comes down to it, then I'll just leave on my own, because I created this channel on being honest, giving my honest opinion no matter what. So, and look, I've criticized Google for essentially not putting out that powerful of a CPU. And that's what we're going to get into today, the CPU. I wanted to break down anything and everything in regards to the CPU. So I did a whole bunch of research today, and we will dive into the specifics of the CPU, the GPU, the modem, all that good stuff. Now, it's not going to be that long of a podcast. I think I'm going to go 30 minutes, so I've already been rambling for about 10, so let me shut up here. Let me blow my nose. Give me a second. All right, so we're back. As you can tell, we've got some good back and forth here in the chat between Pixel fans and Samsung fans. And just to put everything on the table, I am a fanboy, if you want to call it that, of Pixel and Samsung. If that's possible, it is possible because I am. Now, I'm also a fanboy of OnePlus and nothing. It's like seriously choosing. It's like asking me, what child do you love better, or do you like better? Like, I like them all for different reasons. I love what Nothing's doing in the Android world. They're desperately needed a third party, so to speak, a non-huge brand, a smaller brand, but makes fantastic products, right? That's why I love Nothing. The whole glyph thing I think is cool. It's not a gimmick. It's actually pretty cool. I love OnePlus. They're back in the game. I've had every OnePlus phone. Well, I take that back. I didn't get the 9 or the 10 or the 11. 12 is badass. So they're back. I've had Samsung phones since I can remember, even before Android. And I've had every Pixel phone. So I get the pros and cons for each device. And here's the deal, right? Here's what I've learned, or kind of come to realize after having hundreds of phones. No phone is perfect, right? There's some phones that I have like in my top 5 of all-time favorite phones. They're not perfect. You can give me throw a phone out there, and it could have 10 things that I love about it, but there's at least one thing that I'm like, yeah, well, it doesn't have this, or it doesn't have that, or I didn't like the way it felt, or and it's pure personal preference. If you're a Pixel lover and supporter and you'll just use Pixel and that's it, that's cool. I have no issues with that. If you're a Samsung lover and you love the Samsung apps like I do, for different reasons, that's cool too. So I've been using I use my Pixel 8 Pro as my daily driver for about 6 months, right? And then I jumped on, and then the S24 came out, and I've been using that. I got two lines, one personal, one work phone, and I've been using the Flip 6 since it's been released. So, and then when we get the Pixel, I'll throw a SIM card in there and use that for a little while. So I can go back and forth, but I'm always gonna have a Samsung phone, and probably always have a Pixel, and whatever nothing has, I will have, and probably OnePlus as well from here on out until hopefully they don't screw it up again. But I can go either way. Hey, appreciate it. Hey, long time no see, man. Thank you very much for joining us today. So let's get into it real quick before I run out of time. Let me pull up. Let's see here. And if you go, so check it out, guys. So if you go to eSIMstudios.app, it's our web app. If you go to eSIMstudios.app, I have phenomenal. Let me pull it up here for everybody. It's my own personal site, my own web app. You can actually install it on your phone, your desktop, your iPad, your tablet, whatever you got. eSIMstudios.app. And I wrote an article here, right? So, and let's dive into the CPU. All right. So right here, here's eSIMstudios.app. Now, let's jump into real quick. I'm gonna tease it real quick. The S24 Jesus Christ. Let me restart this. The S24 FE, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Fan Edition, looks like it has got the green light and is going to be on the way. Now, this is probably the first FE, the first Fan Edition phone that you will ever see me get excited about. I think in the past, I use a lot of Samsung FE products, Fan Edition. Well, I take that back. I use the earbuds. I don't use the tablets, don't use the phones, simply because in the past I've had a few of them. I get a choppy experience. I get a sluggish experience. And that's typically due to they don't put enough RAM in them, and they've always put a subpar. Well, last year they put a flagship CPU in there, but it was a year old. Not an issue. But my issue in the past has been RAM. It looks like they are going to fix that. It looks like they're going to put at least 8 gigs of RAM in there, which should be suitable enough, at least not for a choppy experience, right? But the S24 FE is on the way. It got certified by... Who do you get certified by? South Korean, the equivalent to the RFCC, South Korean FCC, basically certified it for launch. Now, we believe it's probably going to come to the U.S. in October. Current rumors point to a global release, S24 FE, in October. And it's going to have a Samsung Exynos 2400E chipset. Not too sure. Now, the Exynos 2400 CPU that is in the global variant of the S24 series is actually pretty good. Samsung's really hit or miss with their CPUs. They're typically pretty damn good, or they suck or an overheat, right? But this one, the Exynos 2400, like if you get a S24 Ultra or an S24 Plus in Europe, it's going to have the Exynos model. I think the Snapdragon variant was allocated just for the United States, and obviously the 8 Gen 3 is badass, the CPU. Exynos 2400, not a bad one. So that's actually one of the good ones that they actually hit on, and they're going to put that inside this S24 FE globally. So if you get an S24 FE, it's going to have the Samsung Exynos. But have no fears. I believe this is you're not going to have to worry about that. It is a flagship CPU, flagship performance. Now, I'm not sure what the E is on the end, but we'll figure it out. I'm going to see if I can get one of these. It's going to have a larger 6.7-inch display. Last year, the S23 FE was like a 6.4. And here is the model. Here's the picture from their South Korean equivalent of the FCC. They certified it. It is good to go. Yeah, so that's that. So be on the lookout in October, right? All right. Now, let's get into the Pixel Tensor G4 CPU that's inside the Pixel 9 series. So the Google Tensor G4 is the latest in the line of semi-custom processors. They say semi-custom because, as you know, it is a Exynos-based CPU. That's why I cannot wait for the Pixel 10. Can I get here soon enough? I'm not overlooking this launch of the Pixel 9 series, but I can't wait until we get past. I'm tired of having a Sputnik kind of half-assed performing CPU in these flagship devices. That's why I have an issue with them asking for flagship prices for basically a mid-tier CPU. And I don't mean to shit on Google like that, but it is what it is. I mean, it's technically, I guess it's a flagship CPU, but when you compare it, again, when you compare it to what Snapdragon has in the 8 Gen 3, blows it away in performance. We compared the numbers. My Nothing Phone 2, a 1-year-old phone, almost a 3-year-old CPU, matches the same performance as the Tensor G4. That's correct. Almost a 3-year-old CPU matches the performance of Google's Tensor G4 CPU. So nothing to really brag about. They did put a statement out, as they do every year, saying that it's not built on performance. It's built on AI, right? Machine learning. So it was specifically built semi-custom. Again, it is an Exynos-based CPU. So Google basically, it's basically like, say you're building a home, right? So Samsung and Exynos supply the frame, basically the frame of the house with all these studs and the 2x4s. That's all the wood. And then I'm trying to compare it to the best thing I can. And then Google will come in. So you have the frame of the home, the 2x4s, the foundation, everything is laid. That's what Samsung does. And then basically what Google does is come in and customize everything. Same thing with this chip, right? It builds upon the foundation laid by its predecessors, the Tensor G3 and Tensor G2, with a mix of incremental and notable upgrades. So again, foundation was built on the Tensor G2, a 2-year-old CPU, and they basically build around it with some noticeable upgrades. So the CPU configuration. The Tensor G4 features a CPU setup consisting of one Cortex X4 running at 3.1 GHz. That's the high-performance core. It also has 3 Cortex A720s at 2.6 GHz. That's the mid-range for mid-performance, and 4 Cortex A520s at 1.95 GHz for power efficiency. That's for like when the screen is off, right? Screen off, your phone's on your desk and you're recording a podcast. That's when your power efficiency cores, the 4 A520s, that's when they run performance cores kick in when you obviously are gaming or doing something high, composing a video and doing photo editing and that stuff. That's when that kicks in, right? So the GPU configuration. Let's get into the GPU. The GPU is a Tensor G4, the ARM Mali G715, running at 940 megahertz. While modest, right? Modest. This GPU should handle everyday tasks in graphics processing effectively. Again, here's where you're going to get into the sluggish scores you see on these benchmarks, right? That's where the GPU kicks in why you see these lower scores. RAM. The Tensor G4 it's said to use, we don't know 100%, is using LPDDR5X RAM. As I mentioned, specific details have not been confirmed, but we will confirm them when we get our Pixel 9 Pro in. Machine learning. Google continues to invest in AI with the latest third-gen Tensor TPU, Tensor Processing Unit. Many don't know, but the word and the term tensor is actually a component in the CPU, the Tensor Processing Unit. That's where you get the name Tensor from, or that's where they get it from. Now, this ensures efficient execution of machine learning tasks, enhanced features like photography and voice recognition. Now, media decoding. The Tensor G4 supports decoding of popular video codecs, H.264, H.265, VP9, and AV1. This contributes for a smooth multimedia playback. For most of y'all, it's gibberish and go right over your head, but for people that edit videos, record videos, upload videos, and do a bunch of file transfers, it's good to see them support VP9 and AV1, right? So for most everybody, you don't have to worry about that, right? A modem in connectivity. So they do have a brand new modem. It integrates 4G LTE and 5G sub 6 gigahertz and millimeter wave capabilities. Wi-Fi 7 and Bluetooth 5.3 are also part of the package. I put 5.x because I didn't know at the time of the of writing this, but I do know now it is 5.3, not the latest 5.4. Although I'm gonna double check when we get it in, and at least they put Wi-Fi 7 in there, right? That's a big thing. Wi-Fi 7 is currently available. However, you can buy some Wi-Fi 7 routers. They're very expensive. But even if you have a Wi-Fi 7 router, still doesn't mean you can get Wi-Fi 7 on your phone. You have to contact your internet provider and ask them if they have Wi-Fi 7. Because if they don't have Wi-Fi 7, well, your Wi-Fi 7 router is just going to have Wi-Fi 6E or Wi-Fi 6, right? You got to confirm with your internet provider. I think just a simple call should, in asking should do it. But I don't think it's widely available at the moment. It will be, however, in about a year. In about a year, I think it will be widely available. And trust me, you're gonna want to take advantage of that. It's a huge increase in performance, right? So manufacturing process. So this Tensor, manufactured using Samsung's 4 nanometer process technology. The G4 balances performance and efficiency. In summary, the Tensor G4 brings a well-balanced blend of performance, efficiency, AI advancements to the Pixel 9 devices with its upgraded CPU, slightly upgraded CPU, modest GPU enhancements, to say the least, or I guess to say the most, and improved connectivity, and ensures a smoother and more responsive experience. Now, check this out. I have a list here. If you want to go to eSIMstudios.app, you can. I have all the specifics here. So we compare them with the G2 and the G3 and this current G4 on the Pixel 9 series. You can tell modest improvement. So it's built on the same foundation as previous G3 and G2. Same GPU as last year's. All they did was they simply overclocked it slightly, right? Up from 890 megahertz on the Tensor G3 to 940 megahertz on the Tensor G4. It still has DDR5X RAM, we think, and we'll confirm when we get ours in. Machine learning third gen tensor processing unit now. And that's the same. Now, it's kind of they're on the G4, right? The fourth generation of the Tensor chip, and has a third gen TPU, same as last year. So they did not upgrade the TPU. The G3 had third gen tensor processing unit. And from there, one thing that will be, I think, noticed is better connectivity. There is a brand new modem, brand spanking new, inside this Pixel. So if you're in a dead spot like I am, should be able. Now, what does the modem do? The modem essentially connects the device to a network, whether it be a network from a cell tower or a network from Wi-Fi. So this new modem can connect stronger to a weaker signal, if that makes sense. So it can lock on a weak signal and not bounce around from different bands to try and, because a weak modem, if there's a weak signal, it'll constantly check different bands and different frequencies to try and lock on to a stronger signal. Now, with this new modem, what it does, it'll lock on to a weak signal and essentially get the very most it can out of that weak signal without bouncing around looking for other frequencies or other bands. That will save on your battery life. If you're in a dead spot, you know just as well as I do, your battery life can go quick. So if you're in a dead spot area, if you have a 100% charged phone, you can get down to zero. Your phone will go dead probably an hour and a half faster than if you have a strong signal. It makes that much of a difference. So you should see increased battery life just by the modem not constantly working in the background, because once it locks on to a signal, it locks on. If it's a real weak and it's constantly searching, it's constantly working in the background, chewing through your battery. So that should make a big difference. You should see better battery life, right? Not a lot has changed, right? So again, this is they're using the foundation that they've been solidified on for the last 2 years, or that they've been using for the last 2 years. So that's why I've had an issue. That's my issue, right, with this Pixel 9 series. It all changes next year. This time next year, we will get a brand new CPU. We will get an all new CPU from the ground up, from the foundation up, because Samsung, it will not be an Exynos based, it'll be Google based, and TSMC is actually manufacturing and packing the CPU, because believe it or not, just how they actually put it together makes a huge difference. And TSMC is going to be manufacturing the Pixel 10 CPU, and I think you should see a pretty significant performance boost on the Pixel 10. And watch, I think in just a few months, you're going to see leaks about Google testing this new CPU. So about 2 months ago, we did a couple of stories where they've tested the CPU. Now, no leaked benchmarks or anything like that, but we do know it exists. We do know they are currently working on it as we speak. But I think you're going to see leaks early this year, or probably not this year, probably at the beginning of next year, rolling into the Pixel 10 launch. You're going to start seeing leaks. You're going to see performance leaks. And I think that's when we're going to see a significant boost in performance. Now, I don't think it's going to be as strong and as powerful as the Snapdragon, the upcoming Snapdragon 8 Gen 4. That's supposed to be a beast. It's supposed to beat Apple's new Bionic A18 CPU with a 40% boost in performance over this current 8 Gen 3. I don't think it's going to be that strong. However, if they can get the Tensor G5 CPU, the Pixel 10 CPU, as strong of a performer as the current 8 Gen 3 from Snapdragon, I think that would satisfy me personally, right? And again, I know benchmarks don't mean everything. I know that. But it does mean something. It does mean something when they're charging $1,200 for their devices. That's my opinion. Because right now you're getting a mid-range CPU for the price of a flagship. And, I might let this launch fly. But if they have a small incremental increase next year for the Pixel 10, I'm not going to be a happy camper. So, here is where we get into them basically making a statement that, it's not made for performance. It's made for AI and machine learning, which I understand, and I'm not whacking them on that, because it is true to a certain extent, right? But I can tell you what, if you're a heavy gamer or you play a lot of games, I would pass on this one. If you are a heavy gamer, the best phone to get for gaming is the OnePlus 12, flat out. I mean, it has an enormous the biggest vapor chamber ever put in any mobile device, which helps on cooling, right? And the CPU is blazing fast. So, but I don't think the average Pixel consumer is a heavy gamer. Not saying you can't play heavy games on here. I'm just saying you're going to be better off with probably the OnePlus 12 as far as keeping the device cool and it being able to handle these games, right? Much more powerful than the Pixel, but trust me, the Pixel should be plenty fine. If you're a Pixel fan and you're excited about this phone, you should be. It's going to be a wonderful phone. It's going to be able to do everything and anything you can imagine, right? It'll be fine. It will be fine. So again, we're getting one here. I don't think I have a delivery date. I don't, but it's all good. No worries about that. Real quick before we get out of here, check this out. So Apple, when I heard this, I didn't even know this was a thing. With us Android users, this is just second nature to us. Apple is opening up the iPhone's NFC chip. So they're opening up open source, basically, for the NFC chip to allow iPhone users to do things that us Android users have been doing forever. And just another reason why I'm not a fan of Apple. In fact, I love to hate Apple. And this is another reason. Well, I guess not anymore because they're opening it up. But NFC capabilities now are going to be open to developers. So developers will be able to create applications such as contactless payments in stores, car keys, closed-loop transit cards, corporate badges, student IDs, government IDs, home keys, hotel keys, merchant loyalty and rewards cards, and event tickets. I know it sounds crazy to me because I was like, wait a second, I thought that was already available on iPhones. Now, some of these might have been, but not through NFC, right? Probably through Bluetooth and stuff like that. NFC chip on Apple is locked down, closed sourced for Apple, but they are going to open up source. Apple's creating several new APIs that will power the contactless transactions. The APIs will use the secure enclave in the iPhone with sensitive information stored directly on the device. Developers will have to request access to the NFC and secure enclave entitlement, sign a commercial agreement with Apple, and pay associated fees, of course, because Apple nickels and dimes everybody, users and developers. Apple plans to make sure that only authorized developers who meet regulatory and industry requirements and commit to Apple's security and privacy standards can get access to the API. So I guess it's like, so they can, so technically it's not open sourced. It's semi open source, kind of like the Google Tensor G4 is a semi upgrade or a semi improvement over last generation. This is a semi open source because not anybody, true open source means anybody can get a hold of it. Any developer can go grab the source code and then modify it for their specific application or for what they need to use it for. This, you still have to ask Apple, and they have to essentially approve your request. So it's still technically not open sourced. And if they don't have a good relationship with you or the developer, they can just simply not deny you access. So don't get me started. I definitely don't have enough time to get started on Apple. I will go in on Apple, just not today. I just simply don't have time. But I got to get out of here, guys. I do appreciate the time. Thank you very much for joining me. If you have any questions in regards to the Pixel, or you think I'm a complete dope and I'm an idiot, then you can let me know too. So it wouldn't be the first time somebody called me a dope. So thank you very much for joining us. Please have a safe and enjoyable rest of the weekend. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Same time, same place, and whatever is making headline news in the tech world, we will discuss. Peace out.